All right, and now we are going to be joined by a local PR professional who is the president of the PR Association here in Vienna, Karin. And I don't dare even try to say your last name, and that's a matter of respect, not out of anything else, but welcome, welcome.
It's Wiesinger. Wiesinger.
What'd she say? Yeah, I'm from Virginia. We covered that earlier. It's tricky.
Hello, everybody.
Yeah. Please welcome. Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Thank you so much for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
AMEC as an association, we partner with a lot of industry partners around the world, and those tend to be communication groups. So we can do what Petra was talking about, be able to understand the relevance, make that next move, and be able to support the industry. First of all, tell us a little bit about the PR Association here and how long you guys have been around, your presidency, and kind of what that looks like with your members. Who are your basic members that you have here?
Yes, the Public Relations Association of Austria has been around for a long time in Austria. And we are an independent association of public relations and communications experts. And our colleagues, they come from smaller PR agencies, bigger ones, from organizations with companies, big companies, smaller companies, also from NGOs and from the public sector. So it's quite a variety of members we've got at the PRVA. And we've done a lot of research the last year throughout our presidency because we've started a transition process. So bringing forth the association in the modern world, because the communication world has changed a lot. I don't have to tell you that. And being mostly, or have been, a very public relations, media work-orientated experts and practitioners, there is a lot to do for us in our skills. And then, of course, all these evaluation methods, big data, these are a big challenge for us. And this is what we want to address more in the next year with educational services. So there is a lot to do. And we've conducted a survey with our members so that we can have more a feeling what are the expectations of our members. Do they want us to be more service platform? What about the relationship to the academic world of communication science? So where is the focus? And this was quite interesting for us. And we're just starting to put everything in practice now from the summer on for the next 2 or 3 years, I guess.
I love that. We all know in this room that research whets the appetite for more data and it makes you hungry for it. So I love the fact that you're using that primary research to then build and develop. And on a side note, myself and probably a couple of other people in the room can help you when you're talking about an education partner, a good place to turn to make that next step.
I guess
You're
so.
welcome. So, to that, let's talk about the last couple of years. Obviously, Florian mentioned earlier about this market and some of those changes. How did that affect the PR community? I mean, how did you guys kind of work with each other and make it on the other side of that, some of you stronger, I imagine?
Yes, of course, like in the other fields and sectors of industry, Corona was very effective and of course had a lot of changes it brought to us. Mostly it was difficult, especially for the small numbered organizations and agencies, the little ones, the one-person businesses, because they had to deal with the digitization and with all the digital tools from one day to another. So this was quite a challenge. And also, of course, for the organizations in the companies, because the whole part of internal communication, employer branding. There was so much to do, and the crisis even more. So there was a mixture of communication in crisis and employer branding and internal branding and reputation building. So this was very much a challenge for all of us. And actually what we've seen is that the smaller companies, of course, had a bigger need of finding cooperation partners and coming together with experts also from your side, of course, because everybody is not a specialist in big data and evaluation, but they've seen that they needed that even more. And of course, so the need of finding the right partners and to find and to use our network was even bigger. And then, of course, we couldn't get together in person for some months. But actually, with our latest communication day in May, we were very glad that it was the first time for 2 years that we have come together, 250 experts. And you could really feel the energy and the spirit of the people finally talking to each other and getting along with their experiences and references and cases. So that was quite the first time a positive signal for the industry.
Yeah, we very much know that feeling all too well of being able to be together again after far too long. When you talk about the larger players or some of those individual players who are looking to do that and their kind of immersions of that crisis on top of a crisis type of scenario, what were the tools that you see through the members that kind of came through on the other side of that, and how has that helped make them stronger? And do you think that's that sustainable model, or do you think it was just during the crisis that was this anomaly?
Well, I've seen some of the tools, of course, they will stay. There were two sides. Actually, you had to use them in your own organization for the daily work, for getting along with your team. And then, of course, when we think about the agencies, you had to deal with that in consultancy, of course. What would you prefer for your clients? What would you recommend them? Of course, how could you use that for reputation building? So those were the two sides. And of course, what you were using for your own organization, this depends on how much it has been getting back to normal. But of course, this is the question, what is normal? But some of them, I think, having 2 or 3 days home office a week or those flexible forms of work, they will stay. But on the other hand, we have seen how important it is to come back together, especially in the creative industry, to do brainstormings together, to take a coffee together. And those are the things we've known how, and we can emphasize how important they have become and how relevant. And so some of them will stay, some of the tools. And the horizon of the tools and the services you can use or should use, they have, of course, increased very much. And there is a lot of learning to do to master all these skills. So this is quite a challenge. But the PR and public relations experts have always been master of adaptation. So this will stay on, of course.
I love that. And it is that resilience. You know, Claire is the director of resilience. I think that's something that everyone can relate to, especially in this environment. Let's talk about, as PR professionals, communicators, you know, you talked about the tools. What are some of the challenges of the tools? You have a captive audience who will be all ears at this question.
Well, the challenge is mostly, of course, there are some ethical questions raised with all the new tools and technologies like artificial intelligence and the algorithms. So this is, of course, you don't have black and white in public relations, and of course you have got misinformation, disinformation, fake news. All these developments are difficult to tackle. And so it takes a lot of learning and enhancing your skills so that you can guide and not be an unguided missile. So of course, these are the fields that most of our public relations experts has to spend time on in the future. And we are, of course, with the association focusing on that in our educational programs, of course, together with partners and with, of course, specialists like these in the room, so that we can build those skills, because otherwise we won't be able to tackle those challenges and to know with deepfake how can you find out what is real, what's a new development, what is to be taken care of. So this will be a great, will be big questions for us in the future.
Great. One last question. I'll ask you to put your futurist hat on, if you will. What do you see as the biggest challenges in the next 18 months for the PR and comms market?
One of the biggest challenges, of course, is the whole field of mastering skills in the digital world. But there is another side that we not have spoken of, and this is, of course, the whole area of sustainability communication, dealing with the crisis, with the climate crisis, getting right to the heart of the people. And communication in the sustainability field, of course, is also very tricky. So don't fall into the trap of do greenwashing, but to do some ethical code of conduct focused communication with a lot of experience and fact orientated. So this will be the greatest challenge, I guess, in the next, because it's very urgent that there is something going on in that on that topic. And this will also be, aside from the digitization, the biggest challenge for the industry, I guess.
I think that's so well said, and I think that it builds on what Petra was just talking about, right? We have this learning curve, and we have this legacy individuals is one of those, of, you know, developing those new skills and then being able to put those into effect in everyday comms so that we are ethical, honoring best practice, giving great counsel. So thank you so much. I know that the Austrian market is in good hands with a couple of our sponsors here, especially to help lead and guide. So you have great partners at your disposal. You have partners with AMEC, being an industry partner with you, specifically around measurement and evaluation. So thank you so much for coming, for your time, and for being a great advocate of PR and of best practice. We appreciate you. A round of applause
Thank you very
for
much.
Karin, please.
Thank you. Thank you.